This is The Word with White Jesus. Here we are. Here we are indeed. Election day is right around the corner. And I don't know if I should hold the cigarette or not. I don't want to promote cigarettes, but it's a Norm Macdonald thing. We should know who the president should be in, 2021? I hope so. What's the worst that can happen? I get sued by Big Tobacco? No. I'll get hired by Big Tobacco. Dude, maybe Big Tobacco could be a sponsor of the show. Today's podcast is brought to you by cigarettes. Die with cigarettes. This episode is brought to you by Newport. Newport, Black Guy Cigarettes. Today's podcast is sponsored by A Painful Death. Cigarettes, really stinky vapes. I voted early in person at my voting precinct. There were people there campaigning. There were Biden people, Trump people. There was an odd tension in the air. The tension I felt was a lot of anxiety. Like the anxiety, if Donald Trump wins, it'll be the end of the world. That's not true. The night before I voted, I saw a Biden campaign ad. It opened up with two baby polar bears playing. They were cute as hell. Then in huge letters, it said, "Don't let Trump kill them." And I immediately started laughing hysterically. They really think I'll fall for this? This is getting bananas. Like the media's constant bias. Like, do not believe anything you hear on the news in the next year. Maybe even never believe them again. Because, there's no real news except here on the show. Real News of White Jesus. But I mostly do news stories about gay pandas. And I'm all for gay pandas. Pro-gay panda. If you're a panda out there, you could be whatever kind of panda you want to be, trans pan. Every media outlet is biased, and I'm able to stomach Fox News better than the rest, and that wasn't the case in 2016. I voted for Hillary Clinton. CNN was my jam, and I still like me some Don Lemon, followed by Tucker Carlson, because maybe that's the best way to do it. To listen to the bullshit from both sides and then research it yourself and come to some kind of conclusion of what might be true. People who are glued to CNN for their news, in most cases, will never watch a program on Fox News. Other countries have real news. If you want real news, if you want to find out what's going on in America, you got to watch the BBC. And that's in England. It's across the pond. Because there's no middle here in the US, it's just left and right. The sad thing is that the media has divided us. The media has divided us more than Trump ever could. People live in social media echo chambers where their own beliefs are just echoed amongst their friends with the same opinions. And you have to open your eyes, you have to look at the other side and see what they're saying. At the voting site, I spoke kindly with the Biden people, and I spoke kindly with the Trump people. I made sure to tell both groups that whatever the outcome, we're all going to be okay. When I was talking to the Trump people, the Biden people looked at me like I was doing something wrong. Like I was talking to the enemy. After a couple of minutes of talking with the Biden people, the woman who I was talking to asked me if I was a Democrat, and I politely told her that I'm keeping my vote to myself. But why did she ask me that? It struck me as odd. I mean, we had already started up a conversation. We were just fellow human beings talking. She was into my podcast format of talking about important issues. Would her opinion of me have changed if I told her I was a Republican? This shit is getting stupid. It was just weird. To be perfectly clear, all the people there were very nice. There were very good people on both sides. I spoke to the Biden people a little longer than the Trump folks. The Trump people kept to themselves pretty much and waved at voters. Nobody was yelling at each other or arguing politics. Thank you, white God. We were all just folks. It was a good voting experience. And you may listen to me and assume who I voted for. But you know what they say about assumptions. It makes an ass out of your mom. I voted the way I wanted to, and that's all that matters. Now, let me talk about black folks. With the complete protection of immediately following up with a conversation with Black Moses. And we will talk about it immediately. I won't even talk. Black privilege to you, sir. Respond. I've seen nervous black people who don't want Joe Biden to be president, but are afraid to make their opinions known. And that's fucked up. Like, no political party owns black people, or should expect them to vote Democrat because of the color of their skin. Like, this is why we had Martin Luther King, John Lewis, and countless many other people who fighted for equality. On the Breakfast Club radio show with Charlemagne, who I may be beefing with, I'll have to ask Black Moses. Charlemagne said to Joe Biden, and these are all direct quotes, I have them written down. Charlemagne said to Joe Biden in an interview on that show, "It's a long way to November, we got more questions." And Joe Biden interrupted him and said, "You got more questions, but I tell you what, if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black." Exact quotes. He said this to a black man. And then Charlemagne started to respond, only to get interrupted again by Biden. "Take a look at my record, man." That upsets me. I mean, come on, man. It's the most racist thing I've heard from a presidential candidate. And you're high, dude. You're fucking high. Black people are free-minded. Nobody should be shamed into voting a certain way, and Joe Biden can't make it up with a black VP. Joe Biden lost me right there. Joe Biden, you lost me there. I like iced tea. You lost me, Joe Biden. And I won't tell you who I voted for. They probably know who I voted for. I will tell you that I didn't vote for someone who generalizes black people right to their fucking face. Not nice. Freaking politics, man. Not nice. You know, a wise victim of racial violence once said, "Can't we all just get along?" And that's the key. We need to get along. What we have right now is a broken system. A bird sitting on the ground wondering why it can't fly. Well, if the right wing and the left wing don't work together, you can't fly. My dudes, we are heading toward a civil war. What's so civil about war anyway? We need to open our eyes and see each other as fellow humans, and that's the only way to fix things. Cut. We should cut. We should cut. And that's the word. Let's go to the topic of discussion with me and Black Moses.